But but time flies when you're having fun. That's all I'm gonna say. But I'm actually, 7:30 on the dot. But when we're talking about living, this guest here, honey, she is living. So I think that was an appropriate intro song. But I am now on Facebook Live. We are now live on Raise the Praise 100. You can see me on my YouTube channel. You can watch me Facebook Live. You can watch it on Raise the Praise 100's Facebook Live YouTube channel, all that good stuff. There's nowhere you can't catch us. The point is you can watch or you can continue to listen online or through the app, whatever you choose to do. But I have to give this sister a proper introduction. You know, we don't bring people into the Dr. Don radio show any kind of way. We don't make you sit on the plastic couch like grandma used to. We make you feel comfortable. And this sister, I have not seen her in some time. So I got to give her a big intro, honey. She's just, look, Rochelle Yvonne, honey. You saw the beautiful picture. Rochelle Yvonne, she is the author of Truth, and she is an evangelist, speaker, CEO, and founder of God-Fearing Powerhouse. Welcome back to the Dr. Don Radio Show. Rochelle, how are you, girl?
Hello. Thank you for having me. Let me start off by saying that.
Hey,
I'm
absolutely.
absolutely wonderful. I'm
Good.
wonderful. I look, if I could really just talk about how wonderful I am, I might just float on out of here, but I'm great.
Hey. And if that's what you do, we'll reschedule another time because you never, right? It is what it is. One of the things I prayed, I said, Lord, you just lead this conversation. You lead the show. You just, maybe it'll go in a direction we never thought, right?
Yeah. And that's normally how it happened.
Yeah.
That's normally how it happened. But
yeah,
I'm here for
it. Yeah. And I tell you, girl, so thank you for those who are watching us on Facebook Live, and who are listening online and through the app. And please, those who are watching, please put your questions in the chat, put your comments, show support to Rochelle. We're going to talk about all this good stuff, but let's get to it because, Rochelle, we are talking about steps to self-love. I had a survivor on last week. Okay. This is part 2. So I want to hear from you because this is your journey, right? Your journey is not going to be like somebody else's, but what is your definition of self-love?
Well, first and foremost, knowing and accepting and embracing that God created me exactly how He wanted me. And just understanding it all happened in the womb and it was all predestined. And even when you get off track, even when all the chaos is going on and you find it hard to believe, just getting back to that point of knowing that God designed me and I'm wonderfully made. That's the premise. And most so of just being kind to yourself, giving yourself grace. It takes a lot of grace. And I'm one that I have learned along my journey to make sure that I'm being kind to myself and treat myself with respect, and just because the things that happen around me don't allow that to define what it looked like to love on me.
And I like that you said grace. No, go ahead.
Yeah. A lot of people say that they're having a self-care day or something. I say in my village, no. I'm quick to say I'm having a Rochelle Love Day.
Yeah.
And that's when I have to disconnect because the old me want to fix it for everybody and want to be. I want to. But that's along my healing journey. I learned that was a part of the makeup, how I was wired to believe that I had to, which was inflicted on me through the trauma. And so, taking our time to just love on me and recognizing my strengths and being comfortable in my own skin, that's self-love.
And the thing is, and man, when you say give yourself grace, Rochelle, that's hard, but we got to talk about the journey. And thank you again to all who are listening and watching. When we talk, and I love interviewing my survivors of trauma, and that may seem strange to people, but when we talk about you all, that's when I learned about the power of forgiveness. If a survivor
Yeah.
can forgive the abuser, man, that what am I holding on to? So prayerfully, and then I
Yeah.
also said prayerfully, Rochelle, and I'm gonna pray this right now in the name of Jesus, that those of us who have not been abused, this conversation will open our minds to be more understanding and compassionate, and people who are victims will not be ashamed. Let's watch ourselves. Let's watch what we say. It's an epidemic. So let's watch as a community. So I just pray those of us who have not been abused, we would be more sensitive, and this would educate us as well. So, Rochelle, tell us about your testimony. Go
Let
ahead.
me put a pin in that right there.
Do it.
One of my biggest message that I said that I was going to leave here with today, and I see this right now, why the Holy Spirit for to take over.
Do it.
Compassion. When you compassion, along my journey and dealing with those, me deciding to share my truth, the level of the lack of compassion from my immediate family. It was so much. What happens is those that come in the knowledge of, they instantly start feeling guilt ridden, that they become defensive, that they forget to stop and say, how are you really doing?
Wow.
How did that impact you? I'm sorry that it happened to you. And so I'm so glad that you went that way, because I was not going to leave here tonight without expressing compassion. And I'm here. As I'm working with other survivors currently, that's all I'm hearing. The reason why they don't share, the reason why they're afraid to share, the reason why they holding on to it, is the root of it is scared of the lack of compassion.
But some
Not so
family
much.
members are in denial. They're in
Yeah,
denial. They don't
absolutely.
want to, or they have some guilt, like you said, because they knew it was going on, and you're going to tell us your testimony, and they did nothing about it, because truth is they're
Yeah.
still carrying some broken stuff, right?
Right.
So, and you talked about that last time. So let's get
Yes.
into this. And if anybody
Yes,
has a
ma'am.
comment or question, put it out here. Rochelle will be glad to answer, because we're gonna just talk about everything, honey. Because look
Look,
at
I'm
all.
ready. I got my water.
Look,
I'm here.
if
I'm here for it.
you got
I'm
truth
setting the
behind
captives
you,
free.
you got truth behind you, and that's it's gonna be nothing but okay. We about to
Raw,
get real.
unadulterated.
Come on. Oh, hello. That's what I like to hear, honey. Look,
Yeah. Yeah.
we all have a testimony. Share with us a little of your testimony, sister.
Whew.
I know it's a whoop. Yeah.
I just got through sharing this last night while I was being interviewed by Christina Lockett.
Oh, shout out to her. We love her. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I was just telling her, and I literally stopped and said, "Thank God for my sanity. Thank God for the joy that I have in my heart." Um, because, and I don't question. A lot of people ask me when I share my testimony, did I have moments that I questioned God? It was
Yeah.
not that I ever questioned her. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, we were talking
No.
about you, Alyssa, before we came on, and in a good way too.
Right,
Hey,
right.
hey. Yeah.
One of my things that I've always, even in the wilderness, if you will, I always knew God was with me.
Okay.
I always knew it. I didn't come from a foundation that had me connected spiritually. I felt the presence. I knew it, and then He blessed me and gave birth to my prophet, my son, that reminded me that He was with me.
Okay.
But the things that I had to go through, it was for me to be sitting in moments like this, to be that beacon of light, hope, that light at the end of the tunnel, that it
Yeah.
is another side to this. Um, so my one of my traumatic things, because the list, the biggest infiltration was the molestation at the hands of my biological father, the man that was supposed to
Yeah.
nurture and protect me and rear me.
Mm.
That was the original wound that was open.
Wow. Wow.
And after that, it was two other sexual incidents. And you know the enemy, he's stupid. He's gonna try to attack you in the areas that he think can take you out.
Yeah.
And so, and that, along with that, those three separate isolated sexual assaults came so much more. With that, I experienced drug addiction, alcoholism, homosexuality, abandonment, rejection,
Mm-hmm.
shame,
Yeah.
closet prostitution. Whether
Mm-hmm.
we want to call prostitution, ain't just you walking down up and down this and that. It's when you know that you're going into something with an exchange, that I'm gonna get something
Mm.
in payment for this, because why would I value my body? My daddy took it from me.
Say that. Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So having to rebuild all of that, like literally, I had to get in a place to where I spent a year in consecration. It was just me and Daddy God, and the encounter that I had with him when I came into the knowledge of my worth, and that I
Yeah.
was a daughter of the King.
Mm. Huh.
After that, I just allow him to keep building me and pouring into me and grooming me into the woman of God that he wants me to be.
Alyssa
So
says, Dr. Alyssa says, talk about it. Your testimony is powerful. Charmaine
yeah,
Moore says, your truth is powerful and such
yeah,
a testimony.
yes.
Closet
Thank you,
prostitution.
Charmaine.
I've been doing
Yeah.
this show. I don't know, how long, since the Dr. Dawn started years ago. This is the first time I've heard a survivor talk about closet prostitution.
Oh yeah.
So talk about that. Go into a little
Oh,
more about that.
okay. Well, whether we know it or not, a lot of us do it, but without putting a title on it. If
Yeah.
I, um, if I meet you and I know that ultimately the exchange is going to be, you're going to cover light, rents, gas, something.
Okay.
I'm going
Okay.
into with a notion. I'm building up that conversation and putting a dollar on it,
Okay. Okay.
because I come from um, um my aunts told me early on that I was sitting on a check. How sickening is
Mm.
that? But
That your
so add
body
that,
can your
yeah,
body can make you money.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So with them saying that, were you surprised now looking back? Are you surprised that they were in denial or didn't want to accept what happened?
So looking back at that reminds me how deep the generational trauma was
Yeah.
and is for the ones that
Mm.
still sitting in darkness. I'm the trumpet blower of the family. I
Are they
sent out a
still sitting in
memo,
darkness?
you know, Dr. Dunn.
And everybody's
Be-
journey is different.
because I've decided to be whole
Okay.
and healed. When I was in some years back, when I initiated constantly trying to have these conversations, when I put out the memo that I'm not coming to another family get together, listen, we have real truth at the table and we talk about these things. I'm tired of the rug. The rug is heavy, dirty, stinking, and
Mm.
nasty.
Yeah.
I well, so I don't try to provoke those conversations anymore,
Okay.
because I got what I need for me. I went
Yeah.
back and I tried. I do have a sister here recently, and she have shared some of her stuff with me. I've gotten her connected with counseling, and she's
Wonderful.
working her steps. So that's one captive that I know, close knit, that is
Okay.
working through her healing. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a hard place because everybody don't want it. And I never tell nobody the work is not easy. It hurt
Oh,
like
I can
hell.
imagine. Yeah. Read
It hurt.
Charmaine's comment. Read Charmaine's comment.
You decided. Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
it is. They have not made the decision. You got to keep praying for them.
Oh,
You know.
absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
maybe they want to, but they're just and you walk in the journey, girl. So you know how hard it
Yes.
was for you. Imagine what it is for them. You decided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I
Yes.
like that you have your healthy boundaries, because we need to talk about that. Rochelle, it's so many trauma victims, you don't need to go over there for Christmas. You can say,
Right.
no, I'm not coming over for Thanksgiving. The uncle that molested you, they still acting like it didn't happen. He's still over there coming over. No, your healthy boundaries are, mama, I'm not coming over this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not bringing
Yeah.
no potato salad and sitting around, and we're not dealing with this. I'm going to Rochelle's house this year, or I'm going to
Yeah.
leave Dr. Don's. I'm not, it's okay to say that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to your point, this past Thanksgiving, I had the opportunity to spend my Thanksgiving break with my extended family that God has placed me
Wonderful.
to with, and it was so glorious.
Wonderful.
And I I just marvel at the just sitting out and looking at healthy.
Mm.
It
Read
wasn't
Alyssa's
no
comment. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it wasn't no constant, trying to wonder if this is being whispered and did she really
Mm.
say that and who gonna get drunk and belligerent and a fight break out. It was peace.
Wow.
And I had to make that decision. And then this is my second year detaching from anything that doesn't fit line with where I'm at. I'm
That's
okay with
good.
not being invited. I'm okay
Mm.
with not trying to make it make sense anymore.
Yeah. Where's your mom?
Yeah. My mom,
How
you
were
said
you
where is
left with
she?
your father? Yeah. What happened to where you were under your, you were raised by your father?
No, 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 ma'am, no, ma'am.
Okay.
Left one hair, went to another one. She went straight in the
Okay.
lion's den. My
Okay.
mom was currently, I was raised by my mom and um, with my mom, and she at that time she was in an abusive relationship. So I
Okay.
wanted to get away from her abusive relationship, and I went to my dad. As soon as I
Mm.
went to my dad, I instantly started getting groomed
Wow.
as if I was his like his girlfriend moved in.
Mm.
And I
How
just
so?
was I was just I just it just came to my recollection. And the thing about trauma, because it suppresses your intellect, it suppresses your
Mm.
memory. And it's
Mm.
amazing because I have an elephant memory. But
Yeah.
some of the things that when I have to peel back from the incidents of the trauma, I it's a blur. But I was
Mm.
just in another interview here recently, and I was asked a question that triggered me, and it helped me remember why I don't like pancakes at that time. Why I didn't like
Yeah.
pancakes. Um, and again, I don't mind sharing. I'm
Do it.
transparent.
Yeah.
My dad, and then and I'm still getting to the place here. This hot off the press share. I cringe when I have to reference him as my dad.
Mm.
I don't know if and I just recently asked my mom. Me and my mom relationship is fine. Um,
Okay.
we're able to talk. It's nothing that I love my mother. I have come to accept that she did what she could with what she had.
Yeah. The tools she was
Yeah,
given.
yeah,
The
yeah.
broken
And
tools. They're yeah.
yes, and that's like I was sharing with someone too. And I'm gonna go back to this. When people often say generational curses, as I've been studying, it's most so poor generational patterns.
Mm.
But nobody chose
Generational
to break the
behaviors. Yeah.
pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, okay, well, that's what Pookie and Ray Ray and them did, and ain't so that's just what we do. Like nobody, everybody lazy. Nobody want to do the work, and
Mm.
you got to be intentional about it. And I spent years trying to find out in my bloodline, in the lineage, where did this deviant behavior come from? And I talk about that and I unpack that in chapter 6 in Truth. Like you're doing the spiritual research on that, because what helped me release and free my dad.
Yeah.
I used to call him a sperm donor. I didn't graduated.
Hey. Yeah. No
But I
judgment. Yeah.
literally, and I'm still working on that. I really,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm working on that. I don't want to have to associate. And one of the things that I also encourage the survivors that I work with, be okay with detaching roles and responsibilities with titles.
Mm.
Just because we'll instantly say, oh, not my mama, oh, my auntie, this and that. That's because we have put a title because of their role and responsibility in our life. Call a spade, you know,
Mm.
and it's
Yeah.
and it's okay. And that'll
Yeah.
help us, that helps along your healing journey.
Yeah.
Tell the
Talk
truth
about the
about it.
pancakes. Talk about the
Okay,
pancakes, though.
okay,
I
okay.
want to hear that story.
So when I moved in with my dad,
Hmm.
um, it was a 1 bedroom apartment. We shared. Um, Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To God be the glory.
Oh yes,
Yes.
yes.
We shared a 1 bedroom apartment, and so the grooming started with setting up the night, romanticizing our nights, cutting on the music,
Mm,
setting the scene. At this time, I'm 11.
wow.
Setting the scene, and it started with gentle rubs, and he would always, he would be behind me, and it took me a
Mm,
long time to accept someone approaching me from the back.
yeah.
And that was a issue even in my marriage. I had to work through that, being approached from the back, because that's how the molestation happened, from the backside.
Mm,
um so he would, set the night up, and I didn't, like I said, it just came back to my remembrance here recently in another interview. What was the after the grooming? What was the big bang, if you will,
mm,
for lack of better words? We were He was cooking breakfast. We was having breakfast,
mm,
and we were eating pancakes. And I remember asking him to go. I needed more syrup.
mm,
Um, and it was not a unknown thing. He would walk around the house nude, which was
mm.
already uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Because at my at with my mom, it was always you cover up. It's a boy in the house. I mean, my brother was in the house. You know,
yeah,
um, so my dad getting over there, and he walking around probably, shirtless, then underwear. But that particular morning, he was completely nude at the breakfast table. I
mm,
asked him to go give me more syrup, and this I remember vividly.
yes.
He went to the kitchen to get more syrup, and by the time he came back, he was fully erected and sat at the
Oh,
table and started ejaculating at the table.
mm, my goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And all I can remember was I lost my desire for pancakes.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I just remember, and I didn't remember why, but just to show how merciful God is, my son loved pancakes. I remember buying all the special walk irons and the different batter, and it never, the connection was never made. Now here it
yeah.
is, my granddaughter loved pancakes as well, just to show how God really healed even the finer things. Here it
Mm,
was, just 2024, that I remembered my distaste and my reason for pancakes. But I was able
wow.
to make beautiful Mickey Mouse pancakes for years, and
Yeah, my
it didn't
goodness.
vex me.
Mm.
That's proof
Do
of God miracles.
My goodness. Yeah, how you can find the blessing in that you may,
Yeah.
but you make them for your children. I've interviewed a survivor before. She was abused, domestic violence, sexual abuse as well, at the hands of her stepfather. But she is working on helping to heal the abuser. That's what God has told her. I said, that is the first time I've ever interviewed a survivor and they want to help the abuser.
Mhm.
So it was a very powerful conversation, but it just came to mind. Do you think an abuser can change?
Let me say a couple of things. I
Okay. And give your opinion. That
have
was
a
her. I like to hear everyone's, because
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
whatever you have to
So
say. Yeah.
first thing, yeah, first thing that I would say is when you shared something earlier, prior to us jumping on, one of my spiritual brothers told me after hearing my testimony, he said, "My God, if you look up long suffering and forgiveness, your picture's right there." He
Wow.
said, "Ain't no way."
Wow.
Um, and so even to the question, when I released my dad in person at my grandfather's funeral, I went to him and I whispered in his ear. Now I hadn't seen him. He right up under my nose. God had graced me not to see him.
Yeah.
Um, Especially early on when I was full of rage. Like, yeah.
Because we don't know where you'd be,
um,
right? Yeah.
yeah. So I saw him At one point I remember, because I've worked in the child protective sector for years, and we was at a rodeo, and I saw him at that rodeo with my son. And this was a little bit after my son asked me out of the blue. He never, I used to wonder why he never asked about his granddad, knowing, understanding family tree and dynamics. He never asked. But at the rodeo I ran into my dad, and that was my first time seeing him. And it was so, I remember I was at work. I had like 15 kiddos that I'm watching, my son on this outing with me. So I'm there and I run into him, and it's like
Oh my
moment that I've
goodness.
always wondered, how would I respond when I see him.
Yeah.
I remember trying to ask him and approach it, and he instantly was in denial.
Mm,
So at that point I could never think about forgiving him, because
yeah.
you're still being dismissive to me.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
still acting, you playing, trying to play on my psyche, like I'm not, yeah. So fast forward, at the funeral, I told him, I forgive you, I release you, and it's for me, but you better holler at Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the second person, to get to your to the answer to that, here recently, as I've been sharing my testimony, I have come to a different acknowledgement about the perpetrator.
Okay.
um because the second incident that was inflicted upon me, that particular person has shared so much remorse,
Mm,
and we have been in communication, and they needed to hear from me that I forgive them,
yeah.
because they they totally have did self-examination, um and have, because of the hurt that he inflicted on me, he'd been pretty much walking around here killing himself, full of guilt, and suppressing it. And
Mm,
it has also psychologically damaged him. Um, so I do believe that a heart can be turned.
yeah.
I do believe that they hurt just as much. I don't think that, I would like to believe that nobody want to stand that condition. I also have spoken to those that have been perpetrators that were a perpetrator because it's the result of what happened to them.
Yeah. Was your dad abused?
I don't know, and when I tried to get as much information as I could, the the level of communication is shut down. Um, no, I don't. I don't. Even when I shared with his sisters in latter years,
Yeah.
I don't remember getting enough compassion to even go into that conversation.
It was something though, and they know it. But again, going to Charmaine's point, you decided they.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I want to touch on in Rochelle, I just got this, and shout out to Wash. She says, "Read it, Rochelle." Her comment.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Were you
Yeah.
done? I didn't mean to cut you off. If I had.
No, no, I was
Okay.
done with that. The only thing that I would also add
Okay.
about one, it take a special person. It take you to have a real merciful heart, and did have a great deal of compassion. And I was just um congratulated on my desire to refrain from releasing any information about the second abuser because of their level of remorse. And
Mm,
I feel like that person's heart has changed, and I wouldn't want to
yeah.
do anything to hinder his growth. My
Yeah.
testimony don't change, but I don't have to be as open about his identity, because I don't want that to stunt his healing.
Yeah. Okay. This touches on what I want to say. And thank you all who have made these comments. And I tell you, this show is no judgment, just realness for a reason.
Absolutely.
We're not going to be, because see this, and you may be saying, oh, how can they talk about this? I'm going to tell you right now, nobody's saying that. They're saying good. People are talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that right now, because we need to keep talking about it. But I want to talk about a survivor, and read this comment, Rochelle, from Sister Perkins. I'm gonna make you do some work tonight. You gonna be,
Yes,
yeah, you're gonna do some co-hosting tonight. Read her comment.
yes. God is the vindicator.
Yes.
God is the vindicator.
Yeah.
God is the vindicator, and I know that. I know that. Um, and like I said, it was good, and it was a reason that I didn't run into my dad during my time while I was enraged. You know, I didn't. I didn't need to,
Yeah.
but I have released and forgiven him because that's a part of my spiritual growth. I'm gonna make it
Oh yeah.
personal, Miss Perkins.
Oh yes. Yes. And one thing I have learned, let's talk about a survivor's testimony, because when I first started years ago, right, we're all growing in this thing, and I would interview survivors. One of the questions I would ask is, do you want to tell us who it is, right? And I've learned, and this is to anybody out there who is interviewing a survivor, you don't, a survivor's voice power has been taken from them for years, right? So when a survivor has the courage to share their testimony, don't force them. If they don't want to give the identity, some survivors do. They're very vote. They gonna tell you who they were, their name, where they work, all that. But some survivors, they're like, I choose not to even say who it was. We have to respect that. And on the outside looking in, Rochelle, we're like, expose them. But you said this brother is on a healing journey, and you listen to the Holy Spirit. We cannot tell a survivor how to share their testimony. Uh, you don't, if she doesn't want to reveal, that's not for us to get into. Let's focus on the healing, because truth be told, your father is he still alive?
Yes.
They're still broken. They're still broken. They're not walking around. They he is he's just tormented every day. You cannot tell me you cannot tell me he's not.
Oh
To
God!
have
Oh yeah,
right.
absolutely. The Holy Spirit
Yeah.
revealed it to me, and the reason what prompted me to get real aggressive about getting to this place is because what I was showed in my he gave it to me in dreams how
Mm,
it's gonna be, how the ending is gonna be, and when that moment happened, I need to be in the healed place to
mm.
minister to him. I'm not gonna let
Wow.
him leave here without salvation.
Wow. So
Yeah.
God told you your assignment is to help your dad come to Christ?
Yes, and it's gonna be on his deathbed.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it was confirmed by through ways of communication through the family that he was struggling with some issues with his vision. And
Mm,
yeah, and then I found out I have a sister that's around the age of my son and graduated from the same high school.
wow.
Yeah.
So
And
God has told your assignment is to plant seeds to help your father come to Christ.
yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a journey,
Oh yeah.
but on
Yeah.
the deathbed. Yeah. Wow. How do you feel about that?
I got this in 2017. So
Okay.
if I get the call tonight, I'm at peace.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I
Let's
want to
talk.
say something.
No, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
want
Do it.
I want to say something to your point. I'd rather a survivor telling their testimony, sharing it with somebody, than sitting
Yeah.
here with it and not living life to its fullest. I don't need to
Oh.
know. The world don't need to know who and what happened and all of those, but just
Mm,
getting it out so they can live. It's so many people that's dying with this.
mm,
For what? You know?
yeah.
Um, and then you got those, and what I hear, and I cringe at it. We have been taught to suppress so much
Yeah.
and to minimize what happened to me. You know, well, mine wasn't that bad, or it wasn't this, and at least it didn't happen like
Mm,
that. You were still violated. You was traumatized. You was exposed to something that was not God ordained. God didn't or well, you could most likely was I don't want to speak on what God didn't ordain, but you shouldn't have to if it afflicted you to the point where it caused you not to be as productive as a human, that means you were traumatized. So don't eliminate the possibility of getting healed in that area. I don't care how
Yeah.
small it was. If it was
Yeah.
something outside of the ordinary, you should seek healing.
It,
Yeah,
it and I like how you touched on that because a natural reaction. Well, who did it? Let's focus on the healing. They don't all of that and all of that, but let's get to the healing. And I like how you touched on that. You cannot leave any area untouched when it comes to trauma. You're gonna have to
yeah,
address it all. And we have to understand also when we do these interviews, people, it triggers some things. We're not just sitting down. Rochelle is not healed automatically because she keeps talking about it. She wrote a book. No, it's a journey. I had one survivor, and I hate to be graphic, but we have to talk about it. She said, I asked her, how are you during this interview? And she said, and I'm going to tell you, she said she could taste her father. She remembers tasting. It triggered how her father tasted in her mouth. This is what these interviews do. So when you're sitting down interviewing a survivor, people, it's triggering some things. So we have to be sensitive. Just like, we have our officers who are being more trained, sensitivity training for victims and all of that. But everybody has to learn, we have to be sensitive, right?
yeah.
Get over it, Rochelle. It happened years ago, girl. What should we not say to a survivor?
Look,
What have
first
you
of all,
heard or you told in your research? What should we not be saying to survivors that make you cringe? That we should stop it.
the very two that you just said, that was so long ago. You're not over it yet. Or how's that? The level of, I'm just gonna say ignorance.
Do it. Yeah.
I really think if you're not trauma informed, or even a smidgen, you don't have to be trauma informed, but just have a smidgen of decency. If you
Yeah.
don't know what to ask, don't ask. Keep it simple. Well, how can I help you?
Yeah, that's good.
How can
Yeah.
I help you? But the biggest thing is to me, I think in the response, anything that start with the why and how, like how did that happen, or how did that, because the worst above all of those, I'm not gonna, the three isolated sexual attacks that I've endured, the worst to me was my third incident. I was sexually assaulted by a youth at the facility that I was a counselor at.
Oh, wow.
And to hear the feedback from the level of ignorance from the adults that worked with me, to hear them say, Rochelle, but you're cock strong, you in here manhandling the boys, and you the one that you put down the boys more than not you. How you let that happen?
Aiming the victim. Wow.
I
That's the
that
comment you got from your coworkers? So a
yes,
youth sexually assaulted you, who you were helping,
yes.
and they said, basically, how could you
Literally
let this happen?
not thinking about really the psyche. If someone
Mm,
is in that rage, he had the strength of the Hulk, but he literally caught me with my pants down. I was attacked while in the
mm.
restroom.
Oh, my goodness.
But that
Christina,
right there is
yeah,
what really led me to seek my healing. And I want to
yeah,
make sure that I say this as well, just as much as I
do
wanted to
it.
express compassion. My healing journey was not a straight line. It wasn't linear at all. It took curves. It took me overcoming the residue. When I thought I was healed with this area, I got past the rejection and started building up my confidence in that area. Then the next thing you know, now I'm dealing with shame, and then shame
Mm,
tried to talk to me and tell me about. So it was a constant. Okay, going back to the drawing board. But
mm-hmm.
my healing journey consisted of my, for one, my spiritual foundation,
Yeah,
which is first and foremost. But it's also unfortunate that we have those that want to become over religious about healing, or thinking that they don't need nothing outside of that. God
yeah.
says clearly, seek wise counsel.
Come on now. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Wise counsel. He
That's good.
ordained them. He designed them. It's a part of his. He orchestrated. So I have a therapist for my sexual abuse. I have a therapist
Wonderful.
that just my life, and I got them all on speed dial. I do a lot of
Wonderful.
journaling. I meditate. And like you said, all of this is triggering. Triggering. I just
Yeah.
had an interview last night, so I left there and got prayed up in preparation for today. I shut down my work day today to be prepared to make sure that I minister to the people, and not
Oh,
just from a
yes.
place of Rochelle sharing what happened to her, but me setting the
Mm,
captives free, and then there is hope.
my goodness.
Yeah,
Christina says wise counsel, and she hit on that. So super spirit, so those who want to be super spiritual, Rochelle, again, you are ministering. Wise counsel. We're not just talking about a job or what have you. There is nothing wrong with counseling and therapy. That's good right there in the
yeah,
wise counsel. You can't
yeah,
pray the trauma away.
yeah,
You can't
yeah,
pray it away. God has put angels on this earth who are equipped, who are educated, and who can
yes,
help you. My goodness, that right there. Let's read some of these comments. Sister Perkins says the same thing. Read it, Rochelle.
yes. Wise counsel.
Wise. Now, wise is the key
Yeah,
word.
yes, yeah.
Wise.
And okay, Holy
Yeah.
Spirit.
Do it.
You can't don't be careful what this is such a vulnerable raw state to be in on your healing journey. Protect your ear gates.
Ah,
You
yeah, yeah,
can't
yeah,
be listening to everybody. Everybody can't
yeah,
give you what you need. Everybody
yeah.
can't feed into your spirit. You know, um, everybody is not your therapist.
Yes,
It's a process too, finding the accurate, wise counsel. You
that's right.
know,
Yeah.
because initially when I got started, when the incident happened at the job, they was ordered to seek, give me therapy.
Yeah.
And God bless her heart, a lot of these therapists are not culturally trained, cross culturally trained. And she was a Caucasian therapist. And part of my homework assignment was writing it all down, putting it in a box, and let's throw it away.
Wow. Again, they are human.
Yeah, yeah,
They are human.
yeah,
And I've heard that before. I've heard that before. So yeah, wise counsel. And if this therapist didn't work, but see, you knew, okay, I'm not gonna not. You didn't say, but I'm not gonna go back. You said there's gonna be another one and another one, and that's what you have to understand, people. Every therapist, counselor, life coach, I'm a certified life coach, is not for you. Um,
yes,
you need, and if that one doesn't work, maybe there's another one. They are human. They're not God. We are not God. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? And you have to
yeah.
be careful as well who you put your healing, whose hands you put your healing
You
in.
entrusted
Ultimately,
in,
it should be
absolutely.
Jesus. But on this earth, Rochelle,
Yeah,
you need to be mindful of whose hands you allow to help with your healing. Sister Perkins says board certified Christian counselor. Yeah.
yeah,
And I assume she's talking about herself. I don't know. But thank you for that, Sister Perkins. And that's for anybody who needs it. Hit up Sister Perkins, DM her,
yeah,
should anybody, and see what she's about. But
yes,
but seriously, and I even tell people, Rochelle, look, if I'm not, I do a complimentary consult. If I'm not the coach for you, I can refer you because I can tell if you need therapy, counseling, and I have that list as well. But if I'm not the
yes,
coach for you, I will definitely refer you because at the end of the day, you need healing. And if it's not me, for
yes,
whatever reason, it's going to be, the point is, I want you to get healed. Yes, she says
absolutely,
yes. She
absolutely,
says yes.
yes.
So thank you for
And
sharing,
also to
Sister
your point,
Perkins.
when you
Go
also
ahead.
to your point, when you said that she's human, I
Hmm.
had the opportunity to share my thoughts with her, and she received it very well. And
Good. Good.
yes, it wasn't just like it didn't lead confrontational or nothing like that. I
Good.
would just share with her prior times with me trying examples like that, how that wasn't beneficial to my healing.
Yeah.
I'm
And then
not,
the thing is, you may have been her first black female, her first black client, right? So
yeah,
you have to
right,
understand, but I like that exchange. And you could tell she is somebody who does, she didn't say, well, it must be you. No, she said, thank you, because that allows her to help other people. So she's someone who did want to help. So
yes,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That shows that's a sign of somebody. And then maybe she's taking classes so she
yeah.
can, you know. So yeah, I like that. So we've got to talk about, and you all are just amazing giving your comments. Are you feeling the love, Rochelle? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling the love. I'm feeling the
Yeah.
love, and I'm just I'm just grateful of any opportunity that I'm able to share, and not
Yeah.
just share, but have an effective share,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah. Go ahead.
what blesses me is knowing, like you said, for as the audience and different things, if I could just get one,
Oh,
just one.
yes.
And here recently, I have been well, I've been connected to this young lady, but to know that my testimony was bigger than me. It
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
for me. It's not about Rochelle chasing cloud and needed to meet no certain platform. It's not about me. And like when my family came up against me about sharing my truth, I said it's my
Uh,
truth.
yeah.
And when you
Yeah. Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
share yours, I also offer some publishing services. But
Yeah.
anywho, this is my truth.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it afforded me the opportunity to be reached out by a young lady. Now, how I know this is nothing but kingdom, my ringer is off. My ring been off almost 25 years, not 25 years, 15 years. When I came to understand I'm not baby Jesus, that I need to save me and work on me and stop running to everybody call. If it's an emergency, I catch it. I
That's
don't
right.
have my ringer on. I had my do not disturb before the do not disturb was created. But anyway, my ringer was not on. This young lady reached out to me in the wee hours in the midst of attempting suicide.
Mm,
My messenger wrong. I was
mm,
able to save someone from ending their life that
goodness.
was 800 miles away.
Wow.
And to this day, we are still connected, and she's doing victoriously.
And she saw the book, read the book, and or she saw
We
your
saw the book.
testimony on social media.
Yes, she heard my
Okay.
testimony on social media, had been following me.
Mm, my God. Thank you, Lord,
Yeah,
for that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And Sister Perkins says, Counselor Perkins says, kingdom building, kingdom character, relationship for the kingdom of God.
yes.
Man, when
Praise
I tell
God.
you, you don't know whose life. My God, she was suicidal, Rochelle.
Yes, in the midst
Mm,
of the it was the at that, and I vaguely remember what was going to be the instrument. But I do know she was at the window. She was going
yeah,
to attempt to do a couple of different things, but one was jump off the roof,
yeah.
out the window.
Goodness. She was a survivor of sexual abuse.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And we don't want to tell
Several
too much
traumatic
because
accidents.
if we don't have permission, if you don't have permission to share, we don't want to get into her story, right?
Right.
Because we don't want to violate any trust. So prayerfully, that sister, we have not said too much that's violating any trust, and we have to be careful of that. She can share her story, but that part, I'm sure you're okay. You're, you
Yes.
know,
Oh, yes.
okay,
We're connected so much so that I'm making plans to go out to visit her soon.
wonderful,
She celebrate all of her different her victories along the way. We've been
wonderful.
connected since 2017.
Oh,
So,
wonderful. Yeah.
yeah.
But I didn't want to get into too much because you
Oh,
have to
she's
be
gonna be
very
coming.
mindful.
She's gonna be sharing live soon.
All
I'll
right,
make sure I look
wonderful.
you in.
Wonderful. But she has to share. You
Yes,
see what I'm
ma'am.
saying? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
let's talk about the book Truth. We've got to get into the book Truth, or have we already gotten into it? My goodness.
We got
Uh,
all the way in there.
I think we on chapter 20 already, honey. But look, the book Truth, talk about it.
It's sharing with you almost a play by play of what we just talked about tonight. But I
Okay.
dive in, like I said, chapter 6 is one of my favorites, because I do a deep dive on the spiritual aspects of sexual deviant behavior, um, just that how it runs rampant in the family, and the things that we don't kill at the root, how they we have
Yes,
allowed
ma'am.
them to grow in our family. Dr. Dunn, you know my favorite mantra is what ran in my family will not run in my family. So
Oh, that's
I'm
good.
big on doing, yes, I'm big on doing whatever I can do to make sure that my lineage is free of much trauma
Yeah.
as I can control.
Yeah, as you can control.
Yeah.
Your son, and you have a son, daughter?
I have a son, a 28-year-old son,
Okay. And
a
he
young
knows,
man.
all of this.
Oh,
And
yes.
and he's
Yes.
protective of his kids, I'm sure. He's more aware. I'm
Yes,
sure, of things
very.
of because unfortunately, Rochelle, the thing is, I mean, many survivors, we talked about it when I was talking to the survivor last week for part one of Steps to Self-Love. It's the majority of survivors, and you can weigh in on this, have been abused by someone they know. It's
Yes.
someone, it's a neighbor, it's a close friend, and I've even interviewed someone who worked in sex crimes, and she said predators build a community around them. They build a
Yeah.
support. They groom the adults. They groom the community, and the community
Yeah.
thinks they are so perfect. The community thinks they are so wonderful. And when she said that, be mindful
Yes.
of these people who look so perfect and all of this, or because Rochelle, I was just thinking, and I want you to weigh on this, and let's talk about it. That person, oh, well, anytime you need me to babysit, your child is troubled, right? They're the bad kid at school. You're a single mother, you're busy, you're tired, you don't know what to do with him. Somebody comes along and they want to help you. That child's already labeled a bad seed, and here the predator is helping, and your child says he touched me, but you don't believe your child because he's the bad kid. You see what I'm saying? The predator
Mm-hmm.
grooms the community, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't believe the child. We should always believe the child, Rochelle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I recently had a conversation with someone that shared with me, and I think that this is such an amazing idea. They have weekly family conversations. The elders sit down the youth
Oh, wow.
and have those open dialogue about good touch, bad touch, what that really mean, body parts, understanding how to identify when somebody inappropriate. Like this is a part of their family circle. They have these weekly meetings. I don't know if she
Wow.
said weekly or monthly, but they sit down and talk about it.
Okay.
And I think that having those, because it was so much incest that happened,
Wow.
not because it happened in their family. I think that that is amazing because, again, most of the time it is. Look, it was my father. It was, and he have a great manipulative, influential power over his community. Like, and
Yeah.
that was part of the thing that I had to realize and come to grips with, because me taking on being a perfectionist came from, after all of the times that I would be molested, he would make sure, fix your hair, put the bow on it, fix your clothes, because get
Mm,
presentable, go outside. So I
yeah.
was raised to keep a good presentation.
Wow.
um
Yeah.
until here in 20, I ain't gonna say 2023, I had got to the point though I was like, let it get messy, let it all fall how I need to fall so God can rebuild it how he wants. But
Mm,
one of the things that's important is to have those conversations, and it takes the village it takes some king eyesight. It takes the village to be, you have to know who's in the boat. Because
come on
if
now.
i'm in if I'm sitting at the table with my nieces and I see the pattern change in their behavior, because a lot of times that's what people ask me. Well, who was aware? Who was around? If everybody disillusional and disconnected, nobody can identify that I'm all of a sudden standoffish, and then I'm withdrawing and I'm changing my dress code. I'm dressing like a boy so I won't look appealing. That I'm purposely
Yeah.
to eat to get fat. So in my mind, I won't be attractive. It takes someone to understand their role and their responsibility in the family. So having those conversations and being attentive, like I
Yeah.
have a conversation with my grandkids, and I have identified a secret place for us to have conversations to tell me what's on their heart, and I ask them all the
Good.
time. I just asked my grandson today. He stopped by 5 minutes, 2 years old. But I've told him, when you're not feeling some kind of way and your heart hurt, tell Gigi. Gigi need to know. Do we need to go to the secret place? Because I want to make sure that they feel that safety, that they understand what that
That's
look like.
good. That's good. Oh, and Gigi's always gonna believe you. Yeah. But see,
Yeah, yeah.
also, you are not, and Counselor Perkins hit it. Don't, and you said it as well. Don't disconnect from your children. And the survivor last week, she talked about how she tried to tell her grandmother, I was raped, but grandma was too busy. Baby, I'm busy. I'm talking. So she felt
Mm-hmm.
that just added to her saying, that just added to her, I don't have a voice. So that just
Yeah.
constantly reinforced in her, I don't have a voice. Let me just be silent and let it continue to happen. I'm trying to tell you, oh, but grandma busy. Grandma was being grandma. But you
Yeah.
don't realize when your kids are trying to tell you something, when you're like, boy, be quiet. Mama's talking. Your boy got something to tell you.
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
and because of that, it just she just felt like she never had a voice. There's nobody who's going to listen anyway, and it just continued to
Yes.
happen. My goodness,
Yes.
Rochelle, this
And I'm big.
conversation.
I'm an advocate on, let's, first of all, let's heal the broken areas of us to be the best version of a parent or a grandparent or aunt that we can be to the children. Like, the world is sick enough. Let's do what we
Yeah, yeah,
can to
yeah,
keep them feeling safe and loved in house. And also, having those, stop being so busy. Make sure that they know that they have isolated time for them. Make that time for
yeah,
them. And it's
yeah,
right now, and it amazes me. When my son was growing up, they used, his teachers and everybody would say, "But you're a young mom," and by my email correspondence and stuff like that. But until they actually met me, this association with age and younger parent, I had the heart
yeah.
intent to give my child a life, a childhood that he didn't have to spend a lifetime trying to recover from.
Oh, wonderful, man. That's good. Good, good, good. I tell you. Oh, where can people purchase the book? How can people purchase the book? And make sure, Rochelle, you don't just tell us, put the comment, share the link, all that stuff in the comment after the interview. So we make sure.
Yes, okay, after the interview. So you can find Truth on Amazon, but I prefer you go through my website so you can get automatically connected to my newsletter. That is www.RochelleJohnson.com. And on
So,
all my social media handles is the Rochelle Yvonne
okay. So it's author Rochelle
Johnson.com.
Johnson. And I'm putting it in now.
Yes.
And I'm about to pop this up on the screen. So there's no excuses here. And I
Yes.
believe I
Okay.
did spell
Okay.
it correctly. www, y'all see it big bold. Author Rochelle Johnson. Did I spell it right, girl? I think I got it right.
Yes,
Yeah.
you did. Yes, you
Yes, I
did.
did. You all see what's going on. Take a screenshot of this and make sure you get the book, darling. And look, thank you, Key Nicole.
Hey, Key.
Yeah, thank you, Key Nicole. We appreciate that, darling. I'm trying to type and talk and all that
Now
kind of
that's
stuff.
that's the
Very
realest
good.
evangelist I ever met.
Come on, Key, and read the comments. Read this comment by Counselor Perkins,
Yes.
Rochelle.
Be sure they are heard and seen. I'm always available for my children to vent and listen. Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. And
That's
and, and,
right.
and even my adult son,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. And
Yes.
I just want to make sure that I leave you all with healing is liberating because it helps you find your peace. And
Mm,
finding your peace, once you know when you actually at that place the way and healing don't have a destination. It's continual. But
mm-hmm.
once you get that peace and you know that your baggage, you done work through the baggage and you done crawl through all of the mess, when you hit that place and you be like, okay, you really can just stand at the mountaintop and just breathe and
Yeah.
literally just look out and say, I did it. I did it.
Yeah.
Because it's a day to day. It's a day to day. I think if like to this, if I had to put a date on it that I really, really started being vigorous about my healing, or a year, a time frame, I
Mm-hmm.
would like to say that I'm right at year 8. So I'm
Okay.
walking in my new beginning, my full circle life.
All right. I look. I tell you. Author RochelleJohnson.com. Key Nicole, her publicist, has put this up. We see. Take a screenshot. Take a screenshot and get the book. She said, "Hey, Amazon or get it on this website." I
Yes.
love how, and you know how people really are for you because they share your information, and you don't have to do it. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. You if people are for you, they're gonna share it. It shouldn't
Yes.
take all that.
Yes.
And I'm just putting that out there because I've had guests
Yeah.
before. People, I'm like, oh, okay, never mind, they got it. That's how you know people are for you. Yeah, and she's
Yes.
laughing, but it's true.
I'm telling you, sometimes it's different people that I have connected with or did something. And they say,
Yes.
"Oh, Key Nicole, oh, you know Key, you know," and I say, "I'm telling, that's the realest evangelist I know."
Now, yeah,
God
yeah,
bless your house
yes.
abundantly. Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to, I just said thank you, Rochelle, for this Love Lounge conversation. I tell you,
yes,
I love having Love Lounge. See, I'm not here to talk about, I'm not here to talk about 5 tips to get a man or 5 tips to get your Boaz or 5 tips to get your Esther, your Ruth. We got to get self-love.
yeah,
That's why
yeah,
some of the situations going on now, we're not going to talk about that. We got to get to the root. First, do you love you? And because you
yes,
don't love you, that's why you coming on the show broken and not blessed. I want you to be on the show. We got a healthy marriage. You see what I'm saying?
right,
It's time to break those generational behaviors. And that's what this show
yes,
is about, Rochelle. And
yes,
no shade to anybody because it's real. The journey is real. But if you don't
yeah,
heal, that is what is going on. That is what
yeah.
is going on. We've got to address it. I myself have been there, broken and dating. It ain't fun.
It ain't. Baby. It's literally a hamster in the wheel because
Okay.
you send up these unrealistic expectations for the other person that's putting on and perpetrating a fraud to make you think that they fulfilling what you think you want. You must know what you want. You,
Know what you want, but when you heal, man, the
yeah.
healing process. I'm telling you, Rochelle. I'm. When you heal, you're not gonna tolerate a lot of stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
and then you are gonna be the partner that God, that person deserves too. Yeah.
right,
So on
right.
the other side, I'm going to be the partner he deserves, right? It's
Yes,
not just about
yes,
him serving my needs. No, because I'm healed, I'm going to be a good wife
right.
to him that he
I
deserves.
want.
Oh, come on, y'all. You about to get me into
Yes.
part 2, y'all. Look,
But wait a
you
minute. But
see,
wait a minute. Let me look. Let me come behind the comma.
do it.
I want to continue to be so well knowledgeable of Rochelle
Mm.
that when I am in my relationship, that we're gonna be over there having a competition on how we can outserve each other.
Hello. Yeah,
We're gonna be racing to see who can serve who the best.
that's what it's about. Serving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Submission, serving, love. We talked about self love today, y'all. The steps to self love. Get the book Truth. You see it. Take a screenshot. Rochelle, God bless you, girl. Keep doing what you're doing. And you all see
yeah.
it scrolling at the bottom. I am on till 10. Keep listening on raisethepraise100.com. I have 5 minutes of favor coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. And I'll also be giving you that Black History Month moment. It is Black History Month, yeah. But let's celebrate
Yes, it is.
365. But I thought I'd add that on. Rochelle, God bless you. Girl, don't be a stranger. Wonderful, wonderful. And shout out to Christina Lockett. She's amazing as well. So you're on a book
Yes,
tour, honey.
yes, yes.
Yes, don't stop. So God bless you, girl. God bless you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, girl.